Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. Stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. Welcome, PR Maven Nation, to this week's episode, one of our mini episodes, a quick and informative look at why PR and marketing is more important than ever. The podcast is presented by Marshall Communications, creator of the 65-step Marshall Plan process. For more information, visit marshallpr.com. On the website under PR Maven, you will find information about my two books, PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand. This week, I will be sharing my Forbes Agency Council article, "The Pandemic Has Made PR and Marketing More Important Than Ever." So let's dive right in. The COVID-19 pandemic changed the world as we know it. The world of marketing was no different. Our new normal was a challenging one for marketers to navigate. According to one survey from the World Federation of Advertisers, more than 80% of large advertisers deferred their advertising campaigns, and nearly 60% of survey respondents had described their budgets somewhat or greatly decreased. From Airbnb to Coca-Cola and Visa, some of America's most recognizable brands showed that even they were not immune to a pandemic. But it was not the time to give up. When there is crisis, there is also opportunity. The most innovative, forward-thinking companies still found ways to promote their brands to customers, especially because sales representatives had less face time with prospective clients and customers. The onus was on marketers to fill that void and add value. Take your local car dealerships. Due to showroom closures, the traditional salesperson had been replaced by the online marketer who leveraged email newsletters and social media outreach to reach consumers. Jack Hollis, who markets Toyota cars in North America, said early on in the pandemic, if you currently have a dealership that's been selling maybe 10% of its sales through an online system, maybe now it goes to a third. Let's remember the power of marketing in the first place. It is marketing that sets the stage for a salesperson to walk out on stage and be the star of the show. If a consumer has heard of the brand before, they are more likely to buy from it. Conversely, salespeople can waste a lot of their time and money making cold calls without first establishing brand recognition. That's an uphill battle. Many consumers don't want to talk to a person until they know, like, and trust the brand. The best marketing is like a magnet that attracts the right prospects. It allows you to create a sales funnel, pull prospects along the sales process, and educate prospects about the brand. After a while, educated consumers are the ones who are most likely to trust the brand enough to spend money with it. Only then should the salesperson act, after the marketing process has set the stage for their success. Before that, the salesperson may be perceived as a pest, and the sale is more likely to fall through. Think of the difference in your own life when you get an email or phone call from a person or a brand you know, like, and trust versus a cold email or call that you cannot wait to delete or ignore. Public relations is another way to create brand recognition and establish consumer trust. If a prospect reads a favorable news story about a brand, they are more likely to engage with a salesperson. Earned media can provide third-party validation, which can go even further than traditional advertising. After all, PR experts take advantage of the media to deliver messages for them. At the height of the pandemic, brands had an opportunity to create brand recognition for themselves and still can as the pandemic continues. Consider promoting how you've responded to the COVID-19 pandemic and highlighting your appreciation for consumers or broader philanthropic efforts. Indeed, most Americans are interested in learning more about brands' COVID-19 initiatives. What does that spell? Opportunity. Don't get me wrong, the crisis is challenging to navigate, but I've experienced this opportunity firsthand. From the consumer side, I have developed new loyalty to brands that have connected with me in a new way and that know how to solve my greatest problems. What is business if not a challenge? Isn't that a problem worth solving? I believe it's time for marketers to seize the opportunity in front of them, if they haven't already done so, and shorten the time it takes for salespeople to close sales. If your brand is worth promoting, create compelling content that solves your customers' greatest challenges and helps them sleep at night. For more insight, get access to my latest book, Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, by visiting prmaven.com/giveaway and download a free copy today. And here is my friend, Mike Duguay, to share how PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand have helped him.
After reading PR Works, I really started to think about how marketing actually works. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but what I realized is that each platform nowadays that we use out there in digital media and social media has its own nuance and also quirks to it. And understanding how they're used is exceedingly important. Because when you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. And you can't approach it that way in marketing. And that's where I think Nancy's brilliance really shined in PR Works. I think Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand is really sort of the manifesto of understanding that there's many different levels to marketing. It's on your personal side of your brand, how actually you express yourself through business, but also what people hear you saying and what they see out there in the public eye as well. So I think what's really important there, that's really the blueprint of how you go about using these new social media platforms, but also to express who you are as a human being. Because people want to see you authentically and genuinely working with not only what you do, but also with the customers. And Nancy, on a personal level, I think that's who she is. She embodies that approach.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the skills and games section to find and enable the PR Maven podcast flash briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.